This is the story of Emperor Qianlong, one of China's longest-reigning rulers. A man of art, power, and conquest, whose reign reshaped Asia and left a legacy still felt today.
A 25-year-old emperor inherited the largest empire on Earth and decided it wasn't big enough. His name was Hongli, but history would remember him as the Qianlong Emperor. When he stepped into the Forbidden City, China was already massive, but it was cracking at the edges. Mongol tribes were rebelling in the north, Tibetan monks were plotting independence, and Central Asian warlords threatened the western borders. Most rulers would focus on holding what they had, but Qianlong was different. He was trained as both a Manchu warrior and a Confucian scholar. He could write poetry in the morning and plan military campaigns by evening. On his coronation day, as golden dragons decorated every pillar and incense filled the air, he made a silent vow. He wouldn't just preserve his empire, he would expand it beyond anything his ancestors could imagine. The dragon had awakened, and it was hungry for more territory.
In Part 2, we enter the bloodiest chapter of Emperor Qianlong's, the annihilation of the Dzungar Khanate. What began as a frontier war would end in genocide, wiping out an entire people and expanding Qing power deep into Central Asia.
1855, the Qianlong Emperor turned his gaze westward to the Dzungar Khanate, a Mongol empire that had defied China for decades. But this wouldn't be an ordinary war. He unleashed a campaign so brutal it shocked even his own generals. Qianlong ordered his armies to burn every pasture, poison every well, and destroy every settlement they found. The desert winds carried the roar of Qing cannons across thousands of miles. He used Manchu cavalry, Mongol allies, and Chinese artillery in perfect coordination. When Dzungar warriors fled to the mountains, he starved them out. When they tried to surrender, he refused. The emperor wanted complete erasure. By 1759, over 600,000 Dzungars were dead or scattered. An entire culture vanished from the earth. He renamed their homeland Xinjiang, meaning new territory. He didn't just defeat an empire, he erased it from history itself.
In Part 3, Qianlong fused faith with firepower, using Buddhist prayer books to win allies and cannons to crush enemies. It was a conquest where religion and warfare marched side by side, expanding Qing rule across Asia.
In 1750, Emperor Qianlong faced a massive problem. Tibet was in chaos, Nepal threatened his borders, and Burma refused to bow. But this wasn't just any ruler. He ruled with scrolls and sabers alike. When Tibetan monks rebelled, he didn't just send armies. He sent Buddhist scholars too. His generals carried sacred texts alongside their weapons, winning hearts before battles even began. In Nepal, his forces climbed impossible mountain passes, dragging cannons through snow and ice. The Nepalese thought the Himalayas would protect them. They were wrong. But Burma broke his winning streak. His armies marched into steaming jungles and never came back. Elephants, disease, and endless rain swallowed entire regiments. From Himalayan peaks to jungle trenches, the dragon pressed forward. Some campaigns succeeded through wisdom, others failed through ambition. By 1760, his empire stretched from frozen Tibet to tropical Taiwan. He learned that even dragons have limits.
In Episode 4, Emperor Qianlong set out to collect every book in China. But this was more than preservation, it was control. The dragon decided what knowledge would live and what would vanish.
An emperor once created the largest book collection in history just to control what people could think. By the 1760s, Emperor Qianlong had conquered vast territories and crushed his enemies. But his greatest obsession wasn't war, it was words. He commissioned the Siku Quanshu, a massive project to collect every book in China. Over 15,000 scholars worked for 15 years, copying 36,000 volumes by hand. But this wasn't just about preserving knowledge, it was about controlling it. Books that criticized the Qing Dynasty were quietly destroyed. Entire works vanished forever, erased from history. While Qianlong wrote beautiful poetry and painted delicate scrolls, his court rotted with corruption. His favorite minister, Hessian, stole millions from the treasury. The emperor, who claimed to love literature, was too blinded by flattery to see the truth. He wrote verses as he drew borders, but ink could preserve his glory, not cleanse his court. The empire looked magnificent on paper, but beneath the surface, decay had already begun.
In Episode 5, after 6 decades on the throne, the Dragon Emperor did the unthinkable. Qianlong abdicated. But even in stepping down, he kept his grip on power.
One emperor ruled for 60 years, then chose to step down just as his empire was about to crumble. In 1796, the Qianlong emperor made a shocking decision. After 6 decades on the throne, he abdicated voluntarily, something almost no ruler had ever done. He had expanded China to its largest size in history, conquered entire peoples, and built a cultural legacy that would last centuries. But as the old dragon prepared to sleep, storm clouds were gathering on the horizon. British merchants were already pushing opium into Chinese ports, testing the empire's strength. The corruption he had allowed under his favorite minister Hessian had rotted the government from within. His military campaigns had drained the treasury, leaving China vulnerable. The man who once wrote poetry about eternal glory now watched his empire's first signs of decay. He ruled longer than any Qing emperor before him, but time spares no throne. The dragon slept, but the storm was coming. His legacy would be both magnificent and tragic.